The ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to address delegates attending that gala dinner. Let's take you there.
Committee in Mpumalanga, leaders of the ANC from various provinces and leaders of the alliance, as in COSATU, SACP and SANCO, and leaders of various leagues, the ANC Women's League, the ANC Veterans League, and the ANC Youth League. President Obasanjo, former President of the Republic of Nigeria, business leaders, traditional leaders who are here present with us, religious leaders, leaders from various other civil society organizations, ambassadors who are here present representing various countries, distinguished guests and comrades and friends. It is indeed an honor and a real privilege to be present with all of you here in a gala dinner one day before we celebrate the 112th anniversary of the oldest surviving liberation movement on the continent, the African National Congress. Our movement gathers here in the city of Mbombela, in the province of Mpumalanga, to recall the struggles and achievements of the South African people and to outline the actions that we must take this year to advance these struggles. Before coming to this dinner, I had an opportunity to talk to the TG, and she said, President, as she said here, all we would like you to do is to just greet the people on the SG on the other side. It said, President, just give a preview of what we are going to present as the National Executive Committee tomorrow. So I'm kind of in between two of my principals, the SG and the TG, but I'll do as I think I should do. Now, as a people who have overcome oppression and subjugation, South Africans believe that they are duty-bound to stand with others who are suffering under either the yoke of brutal oppression, brutal dispossession, and occupation. Our movement, its members and supporters and people across the country and across the world have watched in horror as the brutal suffering of the people of Palestine at the hands of the Israeli military. Earlier, also before coming here, I had a telephone call from Minister Ronald Lamola, who was reporting to me about the proceedings at The Hague today, and he told me that everything went so well and that as South Africa we can be confident. And it's been a joy to watch our legal team in The Hague making us as South Africa very proud. But it's also been a joy to watch a young minister in our cabinet from this very province leading the argument that South Africa had to put at The Hague. We witnessed the callous attacks that have been taking place in that part of the world, and as we witness all this, earlier this week, we presented a case to the International Court of Justice arguing the fact that the acts of the Israeli government meet the conditions of genocide as outlined in international law. We urge the court, as we did yesterday, and we continue also to urge the world to act now to prevent further harm in a conflict that is causing immeasurable harm and suffering and death in Gaza and West Bank. The ANC repeats its call for a permanent ceasefire, the release of all hostages, and the infusion of massive humanitarian aid and the return to negotiations and dialogue so that the solution that has been mooted over many years, a two-state solution where Israel and Palestine can live side by side in peace with the Palestinians having attained their own self-determination. Now, South Africa has taken this stance because we share with all other nations a responsibility to prevent genocide. We have taken this stance because we hold true to the statement by our founding president, Nelson Mandela, when he said, "We know too well that our freedom as South Africans is incomplete without the freedom of Palestinians." And we are holding true to this. And comrades and friends, we are gathered in this beautiful province, as described by Comrade Mantanzovu earlier, a province of the rising sun, to outline the program and the tasks of our movement for 2024. As we do so, we draw inspiration and courage from more than a century of struggle against injustice, oppression, and exploitation. And our program of 2024 is guided by the pursuit of our historic mission for fundamental liberation of all South Africans, and by the many challenges that our people face at the moment. The January 8th statement that has been approved by the National Executive Committee, that will be released tomorrow, outlines the tasks of our movement for the year ahead. It provides also an outline of what the line of march for ANC leaders, ANC members, and public representatives and deployed cadres across the country will be. And the January 8th statement is therefore distinct from the ANC's election manifesto, which will be released as part of the launch of our 2024 election campaign next month. The election manifesto will detail the ANC's plans to accelerate as well as to intensify the transformation of our society and economy over the next 5 years. The manifesto itself will put before the people of South Africa a clear program to meet the challenges of the present and to continue building a better future for all our people. We are meeting here at a difficult time, both globally as well as here at home. At a global level, the world is facing many crises. Inequality and poverty are being fueled by things such as inflation and the rising cost of living. The world is having to confront the effects of climate change, increasing geopolitical tensions, financial instability, and war and conflict. We have seen the impact of these crises on our continent and also how they have impacted the livelihoods of our people. Now, together with the devastation of COVID-19, global instability and uncertainty, this is frustrating many of our efforts to redress unemployment, poverty, and inequality in a manner that should redefine the lives of our people and deal with our apartheid legacy. Now, this situation is clearly worsened by a severe electricity crisis, the effects of state capture and corruption, and weaknesses in the implementation of some of our transformational programs. Our January 8th statement responds to these challenges. It reflects on the progress that we have made and also outlines what we still need to do to improve the lives of our people so that they can have a better life. Now, as the ANC celebrates its 112th anniversary, and as the country prepares to celebrate the 30th anniversary of our democracy, it can be stated without fear of contradiction that working together, we have managed to put in place the foundations for the National Democratic Society that is outlined in the Freedom Charter. Over the course of the past 3 decades, we have implemented a range of measures towards the fundamental and radical transformation of our society as well as of our economy. We have introduced laws and we've put in place policies that protect workers' rights, promote employment equity, and enable broad-based Black economic empowerment. We have invested significant resources in building social and economic infrastructure and expanding access to housing, electricity, water, and sanitation, a number of social amenities, healthcare, and education as well. Now, these interventions have made a meaningful difference to the lives of millions of South Africans. Now, as the ANC, we remain absolutely determined to change the structure of our economy and to ensure that our economy is reconstructed and that it becomes an economy that delivers a shared prosperity. A prosperous society is one where people's lives are better, where they flourish, and where they are happy. Prosperity is more than monetary wealth. It includes the social, the cultural, ethical, spiritual well-being of a society. So as the ANC government, ANC-led government correctly put, we will thus continue to enact comprehensive measures to redress more than 3 centuries of the dispossession, exclusion, as well as marginalization of Black people in our country. We will continue to enact measures to advance the empowerment of women, young people, and persons with disability. These measures will build on the outstanding efforts we have made over the past 30 years to redistribute resources and create opportunities to address the needs of the poor. And we continue to put emphasis on the implementation of sector transformation targets, the work that has begun to address the electricity challenge or the energy challenge that we are facing as a country, as set out in the Energy Action Plan, has given us greater confidence that we will bring load shedding to an end. Although we still experience interruptions in electricity supply, the overall trend towards less severe load shedding and better management and communication of outages continues. And we have, through the regulatory reforms that we have initiated, made sure that there is increased investment in electricity generation. Now we are also giving attention to expanding investments in additional transmission of our grid. This ANC-led government will also address another area which has become a great challenge, which is the logistics sector. And we are working together with social partners to relieve congestion at our ports and to increase volumes of freight that are now being carried on key rail corridors. But we are also, as we address the challenges in our ports, getting ready for the increased number of ships that are now being diverted from the Suez Canal that will come across the bulge of Africa and come to our shores. And a number of shipping companies have decided that they are now going to prefer the Cape route, and we are therefore getting ready. And in talking to the Minister of Transport yesterday, she said, President, we are getting ready and we will be able to accommodate these many ships that are going to come around. Now, the fact that South Africa continues to remain an attractive destination for investment is borne out by the substantial new investment commitments that we have mobilized over the past 5 years. And many of these are being translated into real investment. There is now a great opportunity for South African entrepreneurs, many of whom are sitting here tonight, to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be created and are being, as we speak now, being created by the inauguration of the African Continental Free Trade Area. By supporting the development of export markets, the growth of the industrial capacity, and the building of regional value chains, the African Continental Free Trade Area has the potential to reshape and to remake our continent at an economic level. We have endured more than 50 years of apartheid and more than 300 years of colonialism. And we brought to an end an evil system that has been described as a crime against humanity. We brought peace to this land. As we work to overcome the legacy of our past, I do believe that so will we be able to overcome the problems and challenges that we face at present. Now, on the occasion of the 112th year anniversary, the ANC remains firmly committed to mobilizing all South Africans towards the achievement of a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, and prosperous nation. We will not shift an inch from these goals that were set up by our forebears. We will remain committed to them. We remain committed to renewing and rebuilding and strengthening our organization so that it has the means and resources to advance this work. And as part of this effort, I am pleased tonight to announce the official launch of the ANC crowdfunding initiative championed by the Treasurer General. Now, this crowdfunding initiative will allow our members, it will also allow our supporters, many of whom are seated here, and it will allow the general public to donate to the ANC as part of ensuring that the party works towards financial sustainability and self-sufficiency. Your mere presence here, as you have bought tables to come and be part of this pre-January 8th event tomorrow, is a clear demonstration of your willingness to support the African National Congress. And we know for sure that there are many other people across the length and the breadth of our country who would like to lend support, like you are doing tonight, to the African National Congress. So I thank you for being here and for supporting the African National Congress. Thank you very much. Now, through the support of all those who share the ANC's vision of a democratic, just, and equal society, we will be able to empower our movement to drive fundamental and lasting change. It has been an absolute joy for us as members of the NEC, as well as comrades who have come from various provinces, to be here in Mpumalanga this week. As leaders of the ANC, we have had the occasion to interact with our people here across the length and the breadth of the province. I have been privileged to meet young people who, organized by the ANC Youth League, were able to come together, some 2,000 of them and more, in a youth dialogue. It was simply wonderful to meet young people, many of whom took time to express their gratitude for the support they have been given by the provincial government here. And I want to applaud our provincial government for continuing to embark on projects that support young people. And many of those who came were able to give their own personal testimonies. And some of these young people, and most of them, exuded a spirit of optimism and, of course, gratitude as well. But optimism about our country, about their own futures. A number of them stood up to tell us that today they are qualified. Some said, we are now aeronautical engineers, aviation engineers, pediatric surgeons, civil and construction engineers, cybersecurity experts, MBA graduates, gynecologists, veterinary scientists, farmers, plumbers, carpenters, chartered accountants, and many others. And many of them were just very eager to come to the podium to tell their stories. And as I said, they were expressing optimism about the future of the country and the future that they wanted to play a part in. And of course, they also expressed a great, deep desire that the ANC-led government should continue addressing the problem and the challenge of youth unemployment. It was pleasing to see the ANC Youth League leadership in action, mobilizing young people and championing the interests of young people with regards to job creation and urging the ANC to be courageous and to be bold in building a more inclusive economy. It was also equally a joy to meet more than 2,000 women who had gathered from several religious denominations organized by the ANC Women's League for a prayer in Bishop Mdaga's church. I informed the members of the ANC Women's League that whilst I always knew that they are the pillar of the ANC, particularly during election mobilization, I told them that I discovered another secret weapon that they have that I saw them utilizing in the Free State province whilst I was doing door-to-door work there. I told them that I was amazed at their ability to do certain things that one never really ascribes to a structure of the ANC. And as the ANC Women's League, I told them that whilst in the Free State doing mobilization work, doing door-to-door, we went into another lady's house, and she was so grateful to express to us her gratitude that government had built her a house, a fairly new house, one of these new RDP houses that cost 160,000, as most of us will know, and the RDP house that has a ceiling, that has a tiled floor, that has a really decent bathroom, that has 2 bedrooms and a kitchenette and a lounge. And she said as we came in that, President, I want to express my deep gratitude that the ANC government has been able to provide this house to me. And yesterday, as we were going through the various statistics, Minister of Human Settlement said, President, while you've been saying we built some 4 million houses, she said, actually we've built 4.7 million houses as the ANC-led government since we got into office. Now, this lady then said to me, President, there's something I want to discuss with you. I'm here with my comrades. And she said, no, this one requires you and me alone. And I said, it's going to be difficult because I'm here with the provincial leaders of the ANC and all that. She said, no, I would like to discuss this with you. Let's go into my bedroom. So being a well-brought-up young man that I am, I was a bit reluctant to do that, but one of the provincial leaders said, Mr. President, don't show disrespect, go with her. And there I followed her into her bedroom, and she closed the door. Now, as she closed the door, I got a little bit concerned, and I know that others will get excited. But I got a bit concerned, and she said, I want to express once again my gratitude, but I have one problem. And I started listening very intently. She said, my husband left me. And I said, uh-oh, where is this leading to now? She said, that is my problem. And I said, no, I realize that can be a problem. What would you like us to do? Because we've got councillors. She said, no, President. I would like to get a man in my life. I've been without a man for a number of years now too. Is there anything the ANC can do to help me to get a man? And I said, well, and she's not a person that I could call mama. She's still middle-aged and grand. She's just okay, you know. She's just grand, you know. she's the type that, you would look at and say, yeah, no, Neona Ugrandi, and she was sharp. So I then said, no, leave it to me. We'll see what we can do. Now, I was making an empty promise. But as I went out, I had to report to the comrades I was with, and particularly the ANC Women's League leadership. I said, Meona was telling me about her problem, and I don't know whether anything can be done. And they didn't promise that they would do anything. I promise you, 3 months later, I got a call from one of the ANC Women's League leaders in the Free State, and she said, President, you will be pleased to hear that one of our comrades immediately found that lady attractive. We introduced him, and he has now moved into that house with that lady. So I promise you, I didn't know that the ANC Women's League has such capabilities. So I've always regarded them as a great pillar during election campaigns. Now, it's very interesting now. We have relaunched the ANC Women's League, we've relaunched the ANC Youth League, and the ANC Veterans League, as well as Sanko. Now, what I have seen as these organizations of our movement have been relaunched, there's a little bit of wonderful competition. And I've seen it coming more from the Youth League and trying to emulate the Women's League. I wonder what they are now going to do, whether they'll be able to introduce each other to each other, and hopefully maybe not to the Veterans League, because that will be completely out of the question. But I was very pleased that the ANC Women's League has such capabilities. I want to thank you all for being here and also for responding to the invitation from the Treasurer General. This is supposed to be an evening of joy and pleasure before we issue the NEC statement tomorrow. So thank you very much for being here. And I especially want to thank President Obasanjo for being amongst us. As I met him, I said, President, what is wrong with you? Because you keep getting younger all the time. Each time I see President Obasanjo, I see him fitter and looking a lot more handsome than he did a few years ago. There is something special that he is doing. So thank you very much for being here, President. Thank you all.